So, March 2025, stocks are down, crypto is down. Pretty much any market you can think of is down, except for a few. I think gold's not, it's pretty stable. But most markets are definitely down right now. And so people are starting to wake up to the fact that I think 2025 could be a year where all the dreams of making it and getting rich by investing into something, that's all out the window. And now's the time to focus on income, time to focus on cash flow, time to focus on building business and so forth. And so I think that's a conversation that we should have just in case it actually ends up being like that. Now, of course, there's always the hopium that, everything recovers, goes to new all-time highs, your crypto portfolio 10x's and 50x's from here. But you gotta start thinking about, well, what if? And if the what if is, well, actually, so in the world of cryptocurrencies, which is where we invest a lot of our money in, actually cycles are no longer 4 years long. Actually it could be 3 years long. Oh, sorry, something along those lines. Then you got to start thinking, well, income then. Let's get serious about the income side. And so that's something that I'd like to discuss in this video is if you're going to start something with the intention of building an income stream, building several income streams even, where would you start? Where would you focus on? And what are the pros and cons to consider before going down a certain path? Because the thing that you can't take back is time. Once you decide, okay, for example, I'm gonna do e-commerce, and you spend 6 months trying to figure that out, and you realize at the end of 6 months, oh no, e-commerce is really competitive now. Well, sure, you learned a lesson, but it cost you 6 months, and that doesn't come back, right? So in watching this video, I hope that I can shortcut a lot of that and give you food for thought, coming from the perspective of someone that's pretty much tried a lot of all that. I've tried e-commerce and dropshipping. I've tried building courses, and a lot of them ended up successful. I did multiple 6 figures in real estate. I did multiple 7 figures online and in crypto as well. So I've had 2 businesses that each did 7 figures. So, it's coming from that perspective. Now in 2025, so it is contextual in that we're talking this year, 2025, right? The industry that I think is going to be really tough for most people is the e-commerce dropshipping side. And why is that? Well, your competition is China. Most people don't see the business model that TikTok uses. TikTok, the company, not people on TikTok, right? What TikTok's actually doing, which most people don't realize, is that they're tracking who is selling really well on TikTok, right? So all the brands that are doing massive results in e-commerce, TikTok is monitoring that and learning from that, and then their local Chinese suppliers copy those strategies. But the thing is, the Chinese suppliers, because there's no middlemen in between, they get to outcompete in price. And so what you'll find is doing anything related to e-commerce or dropshipping gets much more competitive. There's always going to be small pockets of success, especially if you're able to build a brand out of your product, not just a commodity. But it's not, in my opinion at least, it's not the easiest path to success in 2025 for most people. And I say for most people, okay? Where do I think most people will find success within reason, given that you're prepared to do the work, prepared to learn, prepared to put in practice, steps and do things, right? Well, the one thing that I think everybody can benefit from is having a followership, an attention base, meaning gaining the attention of a community of your own. That's the one thing that I don't care what business you're in, it's gonna help you. When you look at what people are doing these days, you have billionaires that are already billionaires before showing up on camera. They are now showing up on camera because they realize that having that attention opens the door to a lot of different things: brand deals, events, sponsorships, building your own products and brands and introducing it to your audience, right? So building that audience, I think, is definitely one of the things that anybody should be doing today in 2025. Now, what could most people do to expect success, given that you're prepared to do the work, prepared to do the learning, prepared to put in practice steps and actually get things done? Well, let's talk about criteria first, and then we'll start selecting ideas based on that criteria. Well, the first thing is it needs to be something that you can do with relatively low capital investment up front, and something that doesn't have inventories that dies off. So for example, if you're going to start a restaurant, it's probably one of the riskiest business models that you can start. And why is that? Because you have to come up with a lot of capital just to get the restaurant prepared. And then you have to come out with outlaying costs to pay for employees and so forth that have to be there to serve customers. And then you have to have inventories, so your stuff that you cook with and the food that you're supplying, that has to be available, and it dies off, it expires. And once it expires, it's a dead cost that you never recover. So you don't want a business like that. You want a business that if you start it, if it doesn't sell, you're not coming out with, you're not burning out of your pocket, right? And if you do sell, the cost of inventory is as small as possible. See, because that's the killer with e-commerce and dropshipping. That's why a lot of people don't end up making something out of that. So that's the first criteria. Second criteria is it has to be something that's pretty scalable. You see, the thing with being a freelancer as an example, that doesn't have any inventory costs. It's just I'm offering my services as a freelance. Yes, that's true, but the thing is, it's very difficult to scale that to 6 and 7 figures, because once you start taking on 10 clients, once you start taking on more than you can cope with, well, now you got to start looking at staff and training them, and then making sure they don't steal your customers, and so forth and so forth, and then making sure that the quality of their work is to the standard of your clients so that you keep your clients. And so now you start to think of, well, okay, so it's actually pretty hard to scale that to a large figure, right? So it's got to be pretty scalable, meaning whether you have 1 customer, 100 customers, or 10,000 customers, your ability to service those customers doesn't change that much, okay? That's the second thing. The third thing is you want to have a business that once you've established a customer base and a pipeline of business that works, you can expand it and turn it into an ecosystem, right? So if you're a one-trick pony, so for example, GoPro, the company, went bankrupt because they only made a GoPro. And once you have a GoPro, you don't, what else can you buy? Accessories to the GoPro, for example, right? Where GoPro went wrong is they should have started developing things that relate to their customer base, but isn't a GoPro, you know? So that's Apple understanding that a person with a MacBook also needs an iPhone, also needs a headphone, and blah, 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 right? Ecosystem thinking. So those would be the criteria. And if you start thinking about this criteria and going, okay, but what fits in those criteria? Well, the key answers are, well, it's got to be online. I think everybody agrees with that. The second thing is it should be something that you can deliver or sell digitally. So whether that's you build or get hold of a SaaS product. SaaS is software as a service. So a software that you can charge a subscription on, or a one-time fee even. You don't have to code it yourself. You don't have to pay programmers to do it. You can just affiliate with good SaaS products and sell that. That's an option. So that is a option. Another option is to turn your skill set into a digital product. So if you're a yoga teacher, instead of taking on clients one by one, you start recording your modules, your classes, your etc., and you deliver to as many as you can, either via an app or a web app or similar, okay? So the key word though, I think, is community. Regardless of which path you take, the thing that you should be focused on is, how do I build a community? How do I acquire a new customer into my community and then keep that customer in that community? Because once you have a community, whether it's an email list, whether it's people hanging out in a Telegram or Discord community, whether it's people that are following your socials, your YouTube, your TikToks, etc. Once you have a community, that is the asset that comes with you to any business you like, right? You have people with massive followings, starting off with business A, but then being called on stage for events over in Dubai, for example, right? So that's where I think most people should be paying attention to, is how do I build a community and at the same time, while growing that community, still be able to monetize, okay? And one of the best ways is to get skilled at delivering or teaching something, being a leader of a community, being that person they can hold hands with and feel assured on their journey to success in whatever thing you decide to teach them. I believe that's probably the sector where most people starting out can actually see success. But to be successful there means you have to do something, which is what? You have to build skills that align with that kind of business model. Okay, the ability to speak, the ability to record on camera, the ability to produce content, the ability to manage a community and a culture. These are the things that you should start thinking about because they align with all the criteria of a business that would actually work in 2025. Okay, so that's my take. Will I personally start hand-holding people through a journey like this? I think I'm in that stage where I think I want to do that. But you guys let me know. Let me know if you agree with what I think, if you want a community like that. And if I'm gonna put a link somewhere to join a community or something, I'll put it somewhere, okay? But I'd like your feedback on what I've just talked about and whether you agree with it. And see if it takes you somewhere. The whole point though is you want 2025 to be the year of income, not the year of 100xing your crypto portfolio, okay? Because you have to start considering, what if it doesn't work out that way? What if you need to start looking for income? And if it's income related, then you want something that you can actually turn into an asset long-term as well, okay? I hope that helps, hope it makes sense. And till then, we'll see you next time. Take care, and here's to your success.